Welcome to Campus Insiders. I'm Jill Savage. Chip Kelly has been the head coach at Oregon for 4 years now, and after listening to offers from the NFL, will return for a 5th season. There was a bit of controversy back when he took over, though. His predecessor, Mike Bellotti, had just won the Holiday Bowl and was in charge of a team that was on the brink of big things. So most were shocked when he handed over the reins to Kelly. There were conspiracy theories linking Nike CEO Phil Knight to the situation, who some thought forced Bellotti out. But in a sit-down interview we recently did with the former head coach, he dismissed the idea that there was some sort of man behind the curtain calling the shots.
There's a lot of conjecture out there, and it's all false. It was my idea totally. I had considered it for a couple of years about stepping down, getting out of football. I'd been offered the AD job several times already. I did it as a combination of, I had bad knees, and practice was becoming difficult for me, more than difficult. Standing up for 2.5 hours at a stretch was practically impossible. So I was going to step down, become the AD. I made Chip the head coach. I hired Chip as the offensive coordinator. I hired him as the head coach. I stepped down voluntarily to accept the athletic director position. After 1 year, I stepped away from that job to go to work for ESPN, and I knew ultimately I would have to make that decision at some point because I was doing the color analyst position for the OSN network. But I want to set the record straight on this. Nobody, in fact, when I called Phil Knight, Pat Kilkenny, and Dave Frohmeyer and said, I want to do this. One, I want to make Chip the successor. We did that before the year, and that was my idea. That was not anybody else's idea but mine. Now, I had to get it ratified by the powers that be, but I felt good about Chip in terms of what he had shown, his desire to stay there and be part of it. And I said, hey, this could take a year, it could take 2 years, it will not be more than that. And I said, it could happen immediately, so be ready. And he sort of laughed. And so then as it got going, I went through recruiting. I recruited. I signed a good class. We had. I also helped out in spring ball. I didn't want to. Actually, Chip asked me when I got back from Italy. I'd taken my family to Italy. I had said I'm done with that part for a while. And I had a message when I got back from Pat Kilkenny. And the message said, I'm okay with it. It's okay by me. I want you to know that. And I had no clue what he was talking about. There was another message from Chip that said, Mike, give me a call. And so he asked me to be the quarterback coach in the spring. And I said, well, I'm supposed to be the athletic director. This is going to be a little bit tough. But one more time, Phil Knight had nothing to do with it. Phil Knight, when I called him, said, are you sure? Do we really want to do this? And I said, yes, I do. And like I said, that was the whole deal, and that's the honest to God truth.